Hey, so apparently this is a thing on YouTube where people will put on hour-long videos to fall asleep, and I thought, why not do it with my Osu videos? You don't have to watch them to fall asleep, you can just, watch them. But if you are gonna go sleep, then you might have some very interesting dreams, because, Osu has a lot of interesting lore. Before we start, make sure to join my Discord server if you want to talk to random strangers about Osu or anything, or just talk with my community. Anyways, to the ones that are gonna go sleep, I wish you all a good night. So canceled Osu merch. I'll be showing it on the screen, but back in from 2008 to 2017, there was tons of Osu merch, like the Osu mug, Osu shirts, hoodies, sweaters, buttons, pins. All of this stuff you could buy back then. It's all been pretty much canceled, and now it's all lost to time. And probably the most ridiculous of them all, the Osu clock. Actually, somebody still owns a copy of the Osu clocks to this day. Peppy got banned. Peppy was messing with the coding and database of Osu. Somewhere in the code, it allowed users to submit scores for him. People submitted way too many scores, and he got banned. The system flagged him as cheating. But it's not really that low because a lot of people know about it thanks to videos. Osu Stream is the mobile version and the arcade version of Osu. The whereabouts of Osu arcade machines is pretty unknown, but I'm pretty sure they're not being manufactured. They might just be stored in some warehouse or something. Discontinued Osu magazine. Basically, that just refers to in 2011 there was an Osu magazine being made. There was reference to be 5 Osu magazines made, and they had tons of effort, tons of bright art, tons of text, useful information. Notepad edit. Back in around 2008 or so, they edited the map using Notepad, and then they could change the AR values to 8 or 9 when the real value was 10, let's say. And then they would go play a map, and the map would play as AR9, but when the score was submitted, it was technically AR10. So they were basically AR editing it. Rafis JavaScript. Basically, it was
Rafis is a hacker. His cursor changes direction in a very choppy manner. As someone who is a professional coder, I can guarantee that these movements are from an algorithm designed in Java.
These movements are from an algorithm designed in Java.
Masterpiece 3 mod. Masterpiece 3 mod refers to CookieZ's infamous ban in 2014 on a map called Masterpiece. At first, it was believed that he banned himself on the map, but it's been confirmed that he didn't actually ban himself. He let a friend play on his account, and he did it on Masterpiece because Masterpiece was a map that he was accusated on before on his legit score. So I guess it was ironic that he did it on Masterpiece. Peppy quits coding in 2017. Peppy said that he would quit coding in 2018 if Laser would not come out.
So I did promise the release of Laser in 2017, even going as far as saying I'd quit if this didn't happen.
And it didn't come out. It still didn't come out 3 years later. So yeah. So Sony Relax is when a player named Sony was using Relax on stream. Fire, which was a person who was spectating, gave him a map. If you had Relax hack on, it would jump scare a stream, and if you had Relax on, you had no way to turn it off or prevent it from happening. And yeah, then they found out that he was using Relax with this, and it was really funny. And yeah, then he got banned shortly after. Peppy not safe for work incidents. There's been many NSFW incidents from Peppy. One time, and during an OWC event in 2012, he leaked some hentai in his computer, and it was then found to be from his recycle bin. And there's times where he's said some really questionable stuff to people. Most recently, there's the one where he was talking about this one underage girl or something. So as questionable as this whole thing looked for Peppy, he did give a response and say that he does say stupid stuff at times without thinking. It was intended to be a joke, but obviously it was in bad taste. Peppy said that his humor was just not correct anymore, but he will subdue it for the greater good. But the community was very understanding of this, and they realized that it's just a small joke. Even if it is a little in bad taste, we all make mistakes. He was trying to make the game a better place. He was trying to deal with the moderation of backgrounds. Yeah, it's pretty funny. There's a lot of incidents. I don't have all of them, but yeah. 8key canceled. This was super unexpected when it happened. So it began on 8key's Twitter, and now 8key's Twitter is gone. While it was still active, he was things are going to come out about me. I'm sorry everyone for not being the person you expected. So what had happened was that was gonna be his suicide note. Like that was gonna be his last words before he committed suicide by hanging. He was gonna hang himself, but then at the very last second, his brother came in and stopped it. And the reason why he tried to commit suicide was because he felt like so much guilt because he was talking to an underage girl. That whole thing I'm not too sure about. I'm gonna remain biased about that. He was 18 and she was 15. He had sent pictures to her, so it was like, and that whole thing skyrocketed and tons of drama happened about that. I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but yeah. So pretty much now, Iki is canceled, and he quit Osu, pretty much forever. But the funny thing is, he still streams on Twitch, and he doesn't stream any Osu at all. But every time you like reference Osu, he would just say like stuff like Osu was a coping mechanism. He will never come back. It was like his way to escape. There was a player in North Korea, and he was playing in North Korea, and obviously that is crazy because you can't use internet in North Korea. It's prohibited. How he was able to access North Korea was, he actually was Canadian originally, but he moved to North Korea for studies. And I think it was something like his dad was a professor. The way he was able to play Osu was he had a VPN that allowed him to use the internet in North Korea. They're really nice to him. It was super like odd, of course. That's how North Korea is. But now he changed his flight back to Canada. So now he's living in Canada. Loki Chaos 4-digit 1k PP. He said 1k PP on ROG on limitation as a 4-digit. And Loki Chaos is known for his insane reading abilities and his double tapping. He's been banned multiple times, like at least 4 or 5 times, I think. Recently he got unbanned, but before that they were all like, you know, he's a cheater, but now he's unbanned. He's legit now. But we'll see what happens. His story changes quite a bit every couple months. Burst Limit is CookieZ's multi-account. So before he got unbanned in 2016, he made an account called Burst Limit, and that's not the first multi-account he's had. He's had multiple multi-accounts. This random guy called Burst Limit came out and started saying some like really crazy scores like Blue Zenith FC. At this point, CookieZ, you know, he was never gonna come back. It was never announced that he would be returning to Osu. And his scores look a lot like CookieZ. The type of methods, like the play style, the score, they all look like similar. And then it was found to be that with CookieZ. Kadeem Salford. So Kadeem Salford is some dude on YouTube who played Osu, and obviously he's at a beginner level. He was known for probably his spinning. He would use his whole entire desk and ramming the mouse, and it was insane. Hidamari on hooker's ass. So yeah, you heard me right. Somebody did actually hire a hooker, and this is in a foreign country. I don't know what the foreign country is. And what they did was, instead of just being like doing what you do with a hooker, they took their laptop out and at their tablet, and they played Hidamari no Uta and double tapped it while it was on like her ass.
A few moments later.
Close enough.
CookieZ killed by grenade. I don't know where the origins of it are, but I'm pretty sure somebody tweeted out that CookieZ was in the military and he got killed by a grenade during his practices. And obviously later found to be a joke, but at that time people didn't know if it was a joke or not. And some people actually believed that he died from a grenade, but it was just a meme. It was mainly just people like messing around with people. This random string of text with the word CookieZ in it in Osu, it's this video I'm gonna show.
Cookies, 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 cookies. With you, rhythm, beat that, beat that. With you,
The video looks like it has like no logical reason behind it, but actually it was made by this dude who makes parody videos, and it just so happened that in like 2013 happened to find Osu and did his version of the Osu parody stunt or whatever he does. So it's still pretty strange to watch, and it's really mysterious. Legendary. He first got an FC on Image Material in 2014, and people are like, who is this guy? This guy is like insane. Then he got banned. Offline on a private server called Guitari, owned by Firedigger, he FC'd Milk Crown, which is like 9 stars, and his aim was laughably cheated. And here's Firedigger's response to his play.
It's not really that suspicious. It looks completely fine to me. Completely fine to me.
So yeah, that was a really big meme. And then he came back and got unbanned. He played Storytellers with DT, and that was also pretty blatant. You may think that he's a cheater, but people still don't know if he's actually cheating or not. It was never really proved. I mean, sure, his aim was blatant. He still could be legit, and that's why he's on this. Smoothie World. Smoothie World is a guy who he had 10 dogs, right? Let's just say that what he did to those dogs probably should not be mentioned in this video to keep it PG-13. And Smoothie Road is like a top 50 player back then and a very well-known mapper. And obviously he's not known anymore. Unbeatable 2008 scores. There's these 2008 maps where the number 1 is unsnipeable. Now you may think it's like, okay, why? Is it cheated or is it like hacked? But back in 2008, the spinner went up to like 700 raids per minute. So back then they spun to like incredible amounts of score, and you can't beat those scores because they eventually removed it, so you can only go up to 477 with spinners. So the 2016 cheating fiasco has Cry, Nara, Glitter Goose, Seiko, and MyGH69. So Cry was some top 10 cheater from the UK, and he streamed himself time warping to ban himself. He's never been seen ever since. Nara is a Korean top 10 player who was found to be cheating, using probably the same like Cry was using, I don't know. Glitter Goose was like some AR11 player who was world-renowned AR11 skill, and then he was found to also be cheating. And then Seiko was a player who had like over 1,000 multi-accounts and will never be unbanned. And also, there's another story to Seiko, but that's deeper down. So yeah, there's another cheater. And the final cheater is like also not one particular cheater, but actually like tons of Korean players. It's MyGH69. It's a Korean multi-account that a lot of Korean top players use and top Korean cheaters. So basically, names like, it's rumored to be Firebat, people like that played on MyGH69. Horo is cheaterless. Horo is known for making Foxbox, which is a tablet cover like service. It makes you tablet covers. But anyway, he was also known like to have this cheater list, which encompassed a bunch of these names, and a lot of them were just random jabs at people. Like, it may not even have been true, they just said random names, but people in this list were actually found to be cheating. I don't know off the top of my head, or I'll show it on the screen right now, who was actually cheating, but most of them were not cheating, and it was like laughed upon that like how inaccurate his list was. Peppy Family Business. Peppy's name is Dean Herbert, right? And his dad is named John Herbert. And in a second, I'll get to why I know that. So Peppy's origin is from Australia, right? So some kid from Australia, they found out who Peppy's dad was, and apparently Peppy's dad sells paintings. So they called Peppy's dad, and they kept on spamming the call like line over and over again. This got Peppy really annoyed, of course. So Peppy banned this guy from Osu, like entirely, because he kept on annoying his dad. So yeah, Cookie Z boosted multiple accounts. I have a video here from an internet cafe, but you can see Cookie Z. This is a live play from 2012, and he's playing on a friend's account named Choco Liddy. So you can see in the bottom left, apparently that's Choco Liddy's account that Cookie Z is playing on. So he set this pretty decent score for the time on Freedom Dive on his account. And it's also rumored that he boosted a lot of other friends' accounts, because back then, multi-accounting wasn't really frowned upon that much. Obviously it was bannable, but there wasn't much in place to detect, you know, the multi-accounting, if it was being done or not. So it wasn't as much of a taboo practice as it is now. So yeah, he boosted multiple accounts. No username limitation. Basically, I got this from Willie. Willie told me that in 2008 or so, you were able to type your username without having any limitations in your character. So you could have like hashtags, ats, any character you want. And this resulted in having names that are permanently in the Osu like database that have like usernames that you cannot get anymore. I'll show some on the screen. They're actually pretty sick. All of these accounts were made in 2008 with no limitation. You cannot get these names ever again because it was removed to get this. Rainy Emmy $1,800 live play. So Rainy Emmy has a pretty extensive history, but to summarize it, Rainy Emmy was known as an SS only player, right? Pretty impressive. And then all of a sudden they announced that they quote unquote killed himself. But actually 2 years later or so, they actually came back to life and defied the laws of human nature. So actually they faked their death, and apparently they were having severe mental issues and stuff like that. But the question was, were they still cheating? Because Rainy Emmy, shortly after the ban wave, Rainy Emmy did not play on their account at all. Like, not a single play. And the fact that Rainy Emmy has such a mysterious aura to their account, you know, SS only, you know, never streamed, only has like a couple live plays that barely show any legitimacy at all. They had weird aim, and people just believed they cheated. Vinxis offered Rainy Emmy $500 to do a live play, and Rainy Emmy declined it. And then somebody else gave them $1,000 to do a live play, and they declined it. And then somebody eventually gave them up to $1,800 to do a live play. Like, even if you're not cheating, $1,800 for an Osu live play is a lot of money. And even then, they still didn't want to do a live play. And basically, if you don't want to do a live play that you get $1,800 for, then you must be cheating. Like, there's no other doubt about it. Peppy Churchfire. On his channel, if you go really far back, you can see a video of him filming a church, and it's actually on fire. And some people theorize that Peppy burned this church down himself. He committed arson, and he recorded it live on his camera. But obviously that's not true. Speaking of Peppy, old videos, a lot of them are pretty interesting. But his old videos have a lot of stuff that's, you know, random, questionable, but out of all of it, the Churchfire is, I guess, ominous. Rimoy is known best for being associated with AQN. AQN, like I said before, is the cheat that most cheaters use before the ban wave. AQN's origins don't actually start with Rimoy. People believe that Rimoy created AQN, but it actually wasn't Rimoy. Rimoy is a person who joined AQN around 2017, 2018 time. So they made Time Warp, they made the replay editor, they made all of the they made basically all of the cheats that was used before pre-ban wave. Homeless Osu player. An Osu player actually became homeless. There's a whole Reddit post about it that I can look through. I remember it was a serious post. Also, his name was Donsday. So Donsday became homeless. LKS. So LKS is a player from China who used to play way back in like 2008 or so. The reason why he's on this list is because he was found to be an extremely popular YouTuber, has over 1 million followers on this Chinese website. So this guy who just played Osu in 2008 casually became a basically internet celebrity. The reason why we know this is the same guy is because of this screenshot here that I'm gonna post. Reshi. So Reshi is a player who got banned in 2019 or so. Before he was found to be cheating, he seemed to be a very good player. He could maybe even get like top 20, top 15, top 10 even maybe. So then he got banned. But then there's more to his name. So very unfortunate things there. But then luckily he was found to be alive. There was this whole thing, like even if you were a cheater, committing suicide is something no one should ever go through. FGJK123FJ. Now, most people have no idea who that even is or what that even is. So, I'm on his profile right now, and he has this gray question mark flag, and when you click on it, it doesn't go anywhere. Like, it has no meaning. And whenever you make a new account, usually it doesn't show this question mark thing. So basically, his account is dead. He's not actually dead, but his account is dead, which means the account was created, but nobody ever logged into it. Nanashi Ray. They ran the beat map pack mirror for Osu. They actually died. Speaking of Osu accounts that passed away, with the sheer amount of people that have played Osu, of course, you know, someone's gonna unfortunately pass away. So of course, there's gonna be tons of accounts that are still, you can still view to this day, but they're actually, the original owner is dead. Pretty eerie. It's like going through like a Osu graveyard. Z-Trot Proctologist Visit. Z-Trot Proctologist Visit is referring to a map. I believe it's the most disliked map in Osu. It has the most negative ratings. It's a pretty weird map and it's super strange to play. That is not the reason why it's so far down. We will get into why it's this far down into the next layer. Just keep that in mind for now. Beatmap Pack 139. So beatmap packs in Osu have been a long-standing tradition ever since the beginning of the game. So a player actually found that if you go to beatmap number 139, in one of the maps, there's a background which has not safe for work content. So that's a thing. Yeah. Morgan. Morgan is a player who has gone through many controversial phases. I can't find his exact origin, but I can find that he replied to Osu support on Twitter, and he said that he was banned for cheating twice. So he was a known cheater in the community, but what most people know him for was that he actually got unbanned. He seemed to be a very promising player. All of his plays seemed to be legit. He was an up-and-coming speed player, looking to be probably around top 10 to be honest. Somewhere in that range. But eventually, during the infamous ban wave of banning all AQN users, he got banned. He was in the top of the list. And his response was deleting all of his socials, privating most of his YouTube videos. Only a couple are left. The real question is he still a good player? Because he may have been banned for cheating. It's really debated if his speed is legit. Because looking at his live plays, they seem to be not that suspicious. So the general consensus is that Morgan is legit, but there's so much around him that is still unexplained and unknown. There's many rumors about Morgan, like he was a pathological liar, he faked all of his live plays, he faked even his CSGO and like other games. A lot of mystery and aura surrounding him. Howlwater. So Howlwater was a top player back then. So he seemed to be a pretty good player. He had a weird habit where he would double tap jumps and also get really strange act. He seemed to be a pretty good player. But then one day he decided to blatantly cheat a score in Gangsta, one of his most infamous scores, and he got himself banned because of it. After his blatant ban for cheating, eventually word was not known from him for a while, until the release of Fortnite would come out. Yes, Fortnite. And Howwater's videos would get an insane rise of popularity, mainly on the editing course or whatever. These would get millions of views. And the reason why we know it's Howwater is because the name is also How, and I believe it's on the same channel that had his Osu live plays on. Over 250,000 subscribers, and then out of nowhere he just deletes all the videos. And it's rumored that he sold his channel. Client unlock. When you get restricted in Osu, you're not able to access the client. It locks you out and you can't even log in. So a bypass to this, what players have done, is a cheat to unlock your client to where you can still log in. And there's multiple other ways to do it, but this is the most popular method. GusGH0825 IRL meetup. So I've talked about GusGH before, and whether he's legit or not is still up in the air for discussion, but what can be confirmed is that he actually was seen at an IRL meetup with a lot of Korean players, including like Firebat and Flying Tuna, a lot of high profile names. For a cheater to like hang out with all these top players and have their trust, you know, I mean, it's pretty unlikely. With this information, I guess just GusGH just likes to play offline, and he doesn't really have a problem not being on Bancho. Azuki reselling RPR. Azuki is some cheat developer, right? And then what he did was he resold RPR, which is another cheat, for his own money. Varvalian cheats. So a heads up, Varvalian, okay, obviously he doesn't cheat, but what did happen to Varvalian was that his account was hacked into in 2019. What these people did that hacked his account, they posted a fake message saying, "I'm sorry guys, I cheated all my plays." And it just caused a bunch of unneeded drama, and you know, yeah, that happened to Varvalian. Alien sold account. So Alien was an OWC player, and what he did was he sold his account. Shavit ban. So Shavit was infamous for cheating, and then being an admin on a private server called Ripple, and then leaking the source code of Osu. Shavit did a lot of hacking into accounts, some developers, some admins, yeah, just a lot of stuff like that. Zalius' eyes have awoken. So back in around 2015, if you were found to be cheating in Osu, 10 seconds before they pulled the ban hammer on you, you would get this message: Zalius' eyes have awoken, and it would like jump scare you and play like a little alarm. So this replay that we're seeing is the last few seconds of a cheater playing on Osu. Yeah, obviously no longer does this happen anymore, but it's still a pretty sick Easter egg. EU/CIS account selling spree. Basically it just refers to a bunch of Europeans and CIS who sold their account. I don't know the exact reason for the selling spree. Cheat was detected or whatnot, but yeah, this also includes Alien and a lot of other names. Fun Orange multi-account. It was 2016 and there was a report made. So first he took a picture of his second account user page, which has these plays. Oh yeah, FO42. So the reason why he made a multi-account was because Azer locked him out of his other account. So he just played on this one instead. Kuyo Motis, the insane hard rock player who could rival Itki. He has tons of multi-accounts. It's unsure whether or not these plays are also legit, but yeah, the fact that how mysterious it is, it's pretty unknown. Lily Pichu boosted. So Lily Pichu is a popular streamer and content creator. She also has an Osu account, and she played Osu like 12 years ago. The reason to why it's believed that she's boosted, randomly gets 60 and 70, and all of a sudden a 129. So I mean, it can be argued that she just like obviously, you know, like played offline or something, or like played a random map, because it has been, you know, PP milestones have been skipped before, and you know, you can get a pop off, but I mean, Lily Pichu is not really that much of an Osu player. Like, she has played it before, but she said that she used to play League, like just to warm up in League. And I don't know why she would get boosted. I mean, it's just something funny, I guess. Korean Replay Splicer. Okay, well, it was confirmed. The Korean Replay Splicer did exist, but any screenshots, any downloads of it is unknown. And what it was known to do, it was meant to splice replays together, and it was only available to Korean community at the time. Basically, it just allowed for undetectable replays. It was known to have segments, and it might still even be used today. Rumoy aim assist still used by 3 top players. Basically, it is what it just is. Rumoy made an aim assist, and it's still being used by 3 top players. You can see how some players, they reference that there are still cheers in the top 100, even after all of the ban waves, all of the restrictions, all of the detections. There's still stuff being used by top 100, and a lot of names pop up that you have no idea who they are. They just came out of nowhere. Whether they're legit or not, or using private cheats, is up for debate. In June 2017, Discord DMs were leaked showing Rohok talking to a 13-year-old girl inappropriately, and infamously, the video that I'm sure we all know about was also sent to the girl, making Rohok a pedophile, and essentially causing him to be cancelled and hated. During this time, Rohok still continued to post videos of his plays, and even though they were receiving a negative like-dislike ratio, he still put them out, nevertheless. Some people still respect him for the plays he makes, but Rohok's actions were just too much to be swept under the rug. Eventually though, time moved on, and he learned his lesson, making it for the top 10 global, and receiving a positive like-to-dislike ratio. Recently, Rohok went live on Twitch and received massive support from the community, welcoming him back to Osu. However, it is not a permanent stay, as he just wanted to stream off impulse and is busy with university these days, and also with no time to play anymore. Cookie Z is in military. On May 24th, 2020, a Reddit post was made titled Cookie Z Appreciation Thread. The post is about his legendary performance in Osu, which will be unrivaled for years and years to come, about just how ahead he was in his time. Plays like his Freedom Die 4-dimension Hidden Hard Rock FC, which is likely to never be beaten in Osu, is just a fraction of what he's accomplished in this game. Nowadays, he has quit and moved on to complete military service. This, paired with the chance that he may never return to the game ever again. Speed is genetics. Players like Zestiny and Mirami are seemingly able to stream extremely high BPM without much effort at all. When talked about how they are able to stream so fast, players default to the argument that speed isn't about practice and skill, but merely just genetics. As Carthy mentions in a Reddit post about genetics, it's only partially a factor in how slow or fast you improve. However, hard work outweighs genetics. Carthy is proof of all of this, as his speed is the accumulation of hard work and consistent practice. So basically, genetics only plays a factor of how slow or fast you improve, but in the end, it is the result of hard work that truly displays your Osu skill. D-Rankers in tourneys. As of today, Digital Hypno has 22 badges, which is the most out of any Osu player in the world. This is because he plays in tourneys, where the highest rank is 1000 plus, and his skill is much better than a player below the top 1000. Also note that it's not just him, and there are other players, but Digital Hypno is just the best example of a D-Ranker. So why are people hating on Digital Hypno? The reasoning is that he should be playing in tourneys with top players like an OWC, and not just 4 digits where he has some unequal opponents and can just easily sweep the competition. They say he should be straight up just banned from playing in the 4-digit only tournaments, and only allow him to play in tourneys with top players. However, eventually, a solution was found to fix the problem. In 2020, BWS rating, a badge weighting system, was introduced so that D-Rankers like Digital Hypno was placed at a high rating, making the matches that he plays much more fair. Masita cheated, despite being the best flashlight player legit. Who is Masita? Masita was regarded in the Osu community as the best flashlight player in Osu, during 2018 at least. Nowadays we have FG Sky. His consistency on flashlight back then was unmatched, and no one could even get close to beating one of his scores. But when someone is too insane in the game, suspicions are just bound to arise. People were accusing Masita for his amazing flashlight plays on maps like Gold Dust Flashlight and Emerald Sword Flashlight, because they were just way too good for his time. They say he used 2 monitors to play flashlight, which uses your main monitor to play in real time, and the other monitor to show a replay of the map without flashlight. While this is still pretty difficult, it is not as hard with 1 monitor, and it is almost impossible to detect it. Another way people have accused Masita for cheating is the use of Gamma to remove the effect of flashlight entirely, and this was only possible on the older clients back then. This would allow Masita to be able to produce these insane flashlight scores essentially without even playing flashlight. While there is no proof of this happening, it is a possibility that can never be found out, since all of the old flashlight scores from leaderboards remain today. Also, his low play count at the time just made it look worse for him, and while it could mean that he played offline, people weren't so sure about it. He has posted live plays before on his YouTube channel, the most recent one having a difference of 6 years in between. I would say it's better to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he is legit, since there is no concrete evidence proven in his replays that he's cheating. But what is your opinion? Smoothie World Chihuahua Incident. Smoothie World was a top 100 player in 2016 and a well-known mapper in 2017, and also hosted tournaments. However, behind the scenes of a seemingly innocent and well-respected member in Osu lies a rather unpleasant secret. To get more information on the Chihuahua incident, I was told to DM someone that knew what exactly happened with Smoothie World and his pets. I was linked to an Imgur collection, and while I have some words censored out for obvious reasons, I'll also read a little bit of it. 3 dogs and 2 cats. I've left my dog with me before, but I'm too scared to blank in her blank. I got my first blank to a yellow lab. I've helped my Chihuahua a few times. So yeah, at first I thought this was a joke, that anyone would do this to their dog. But now I am mistaken. And even though it's just Discord screenshots, why would everyone in the community be saying that it is true that Smoothie Bro did this to his dog? Nowadays, his name has vanished from Osu, and aside from a questionable fact about him, he was a pretty well-respected player. Wowie has schizophrenia. All I can find about the matter is that Wowie has publicly announced on Twitter that he does not have schizophrenia. Carthy on steroids. In 2019, word was being spread around that Carthy was using steroids to boost his Osu performance. He publicly debunked this rumor and had to say this on the matter. Carthy does indeed use steroids, but they are not anabolic steroids, which would increase testosterone to maybe help boost Osu performance. It's honestly not recommended at all, and provides him more harm than good. He takes corticosteroids, which help his lung and heart problems that he has, not to have him be able to obtain more speed in Osu. Carthy has also said they have helped his motivation to play though, and to improve at Osu, stop being lazy. Biko was cheating. Biko is an anomaly in the Osu community, and he started out in 2010 as a touchscreen player. Then, he came back in 2015, setting some of the best hidden hard rock accuracy plays like Senketsu no Chikai SS and Helix SS his first try, then logging off and disappearing again. Biko and other people have stated that he is an offline player, and that he only logs on to Bancho to set his plays that he's been practicing offline. Now this was quite a controversial way of playing, however, since Biko has never posted a live play anywhere, and the switch of playstyles came out of nowhere and made him look very suspicious. In a video by Willie titled The Mystery of Biko, Spazza17 pointed out how he never shakes an Osu, having his aim look robotic, and even Idki, one of the best nerve control players in the world, still has shaky aim whenever he's nervous. There's a lot of valid points to be made about Biko cheating, but his account is still unbanned to this day. Nalia Missile Strikes. The date is May 4th, 2019. A well-known Osu streamer from Israel named Nalian is having an ordinary live broadcast on Twitch. Nothing seems to be wrong at the moment, except for one thing: his location. To people who live in a relatively safe area, missile strikes, acts of terrorism, and violence never really crossed their mind, and there is no need to worry about it. Israel is generally a safe place, but due to its location in the Middle East, there can be some exceptions. Adderall usage. If you don't know what Adderall is, basically, it's a prescription drug to treat ADHD, and the effects of it are that it increases your ability to pay attention and stay more focused. In terms of for playing games on Adderall, people that don't have a prescription can use it to perform better than they usually would in video games. One of the more infamous examples is the C9 CSGO Adderall scandal, when they used Adderall to boost their performance for a tournament. A Reddit user from Osu, who's prescribed with Adderall, has said that the fear of choking on a map from nerves totally disappears, but their heart rate skyrocketed and their aim was incredibly shaky. So in short, don't do drugs and you'll live a long life. Baidu forums. Baidu is basically a Chinese Google, and Baidu also owns Baidu Taiba, which is the largest Chinese communication platform. The most talked about topic on Baidu appears to be League, so a big part of Baidu Taiba is video games. Osu has a section in Baidu too, and at first glance it doesn't seem too strange, but there are some odd posts that may have gotten translated wrong on here. A strange picture called He Is Not a Girl, with the title Lucifer's Taunt. My classmates just don't fight me, STD. He forced me to scold my mother, and the two rookies pecked at each other, or I was better. I went to a bunch of shops and played all night without making any progress. Envy classmates into the pit. At least there are classmates in the pit to play together. Osu is doomed if it gets too big due to legal reasons. Osu is a free-to-play game with a wide variety of beat maps and music to play. The topic of copyright is always in the back of rhythm game developers, and because of Osu's relatively small community compared to other games, it's managed to pretty much go under the radar. There have been some copyright issues, but Peppy responds quickly to the demands and the beat maps are taken down very quickly. However, with the Osu Bloodcat Beatmap Manager, players can still access these taken down songs. Now the reason I don't think this is too much of an issue is that Osu has been noticed by big names like PewDiePie, Ninja, and a sponsored tournament from Logitech. Osu, while it isn't the biggest game, its presence certainly exists between a large amount of people. If copyrighted songs weren't that much of an issue, the big names that have made Osu bigger would have caused several problems, like pretty much all of the beat maps being removed from the game. Also, being a featured artist in Osu actually increases your fan base, as people might enjoy the songs from Osu they play, and I just see it as a win-win situation for featured artists. But what is your opinion on this? AI mapping. With the advancements in technology comes the expansion of artificial intelligence as well. Basic jobs like retail and fast food workers are already starting to see some replacement in the form of AI. Agony5757 wrote an auto Osu mapper that uses the MP3 audio file to create beat maps. Right now, the maps don't look that good, but with time, they can get to the point where it might become the norm in Osu. And also, since most farm maps are pretty much the same thing anyway, it's certainly not impossible. Elliot Rodger was top 1K. Now if you don't know who Elliot Rodger is, he was responsible for killing 6 people and injuring 14 near the campus of California Santa Barbara, then killing himself. Now the fact that Elliot Rodger even played Osu, let alone was in the top 1000, is very far-fetched, but you never know who you're talking to on the internet, or what their real intentions are when you're talking to them. But hey, I might be playing into this iceberg a little too much. Who knows? II Ultimate True Identity. From looking up II Ultimate's name on Reddit, he seemed to be an annoying shitposter in the r/Osu game, and half the people were happy to see him gone, and the other half thought it was unfair and thought that he wasn't causing any real harm to the subreddit. In terms of his true identity, I don't think anyone really knows, except that he's just some Reddit user who used to post memes. It could be more, but honestly, it's not really that important. The Mr. Boom Method. The Mr. Boom Method has been referenced from Merami. I assume it's a higher level of thinking that allows you to perform more efficiently in Osu. As we see here, the Mr. Boom Method is implemented in full effect. People who ask what the Mr. Boom Method is are told that it is kept in secret, as the revealing of it will be detrimental and certainly fatal. Merami Notepad Cheats OD. In 2016, Osu had a minor oversight from how the beatmap files worked that allowed players to edit the values externally from a map and submit their score with these edited values. Essentially, approach rate, overall difficulty, and things like this were able to be changed using Notepad, allowing, for example, someone to play an AR11 map on AR 9.3, and it would look just like AR11 still from the replay. It was patched later in Osu's development, but the fact that Merami used it is certainly far-fetched. Fail Screen IRL. Dick Chappie, also known as Eru, has given his prayers to the Fail Screen IRL. When you fail in Osu, you've lost all of your life in your health bar. Similar to real life itself, when you lose all of your life, you are presented with the Fail Screen IRL, and you can choose to quit, retry the map, or watch the replay. Ayachi Nene's life play is legit, and he got hit by a bus. Ayachi Nene / Amamiya was a top 15 Osu player back in 2017. However, his name is not known anymore because he was banned for cheating. He has posted a live play before though, at a whopping 26 minutes. In his live play, he shows all of his custom designed pillows, and then proceeds to boot up his computer. Now, is this live play legit or fake? And in terms of getting hit by a bus, I don't know. It could maybe happen. Sapphire Ghost quit message was a suicide note. I'm not scared of death, for death itself is the end of fear. Sapphire Ghost 2015. Sapphire Ghost was a top US player in 2013, and has since now moved on from Osu. Now, one of the things he left behind is a note left on his user page on how he overcame his depression from quitting Osu. For it to be a suicide note is a very dark theory and topic. However, if one were to speculate, there are some points to make here. From Sapphire Ghost's quote, the argument can be made that not being scared of death anymore is a form of being open to suicide. Far-fetched, but let me keep going. The whole note, from how the words are phrased, I am living happily, which can mean he killed himself and can be released from his depression, and the tone of the words might give someone an off feeling. But he says that he's looking to a great future, and that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This can also be interpreted as his great future, which is him moving on to the afterlife, which is his great future, and at the light at the end of the tunnel, it is heaven. Hopefully, and most likely, it's not a suicide note, and I hope Sapphire Ghost is still doing well to this day. Rainy is dead. Rainy is a top SS player from 2019, and they were able to snipe players like Toy on hidden Hard Rock maps, and their playstyle gave Rainy a lot of notoriety back then. However, one of Rainy's friends announced that Rainy is dead. Then, Rainy came back a couple months later saying they are still alive and that Rainy's friends planned this all along, and that it was for attention to say that Rainy committed suicide. Quite understandably, the Osu community exploded and made memes, and eventually someone doxed Rainy, giving out public information like address and high school. Iwaku made a detailed post about Rainy, and that it was 100% brought upon Rainy. Since then, Rainy is a flop. NoteLock's true purpose. NoteLock is a feature implemented by Peppy, and Rick Putt explains it as the OD of a map is too low for the BPM, causing the hit window of the node to overlap itself, causing you to miss when you actually hit it. The origin of NoteLock was to prevent hitting the note on the wrong key, and it still registers. And NoteLock was created to patch this problem in the ancient times of Osu in 2008. However, it's certainly not a problem anymore because of the change in meta, but the outdated system of NoteLock still remains. A lot of people have complained about NoteLock and how unnecessary it is in Osu. And even Karthi has set some impressive scores on Osu Laser. And Osu Laser, while it still has NoteLock, is far better than the client we have today. Peppy has responded to everyone, saying NoteLock will stay until Osu Laser releases. It is theorized that NoteLock's true purpose is to prevent players from being so good and setting such high plays that eventually the game would turn from a rhythm game into a glorified whack-a-mole simulator. Wait a minute. Adrenochrome from child torture, used for stamina. Adrenochrome is a pro-Trump conspiracy theory that it is a psychedelic drug harvested from the fear of children. It's an easy-to-come-by compound, and apparently, its use is to harvest fear of children because fear is what encourages kids to have energy. Now, even this for an Osu Iceberg video is far-fetched. Like, how would stamina even help from a psychedelic drug that uses the fear of children? Like, I have no idea, dude. Before 2016, a lot of Osu skins and files in general were shared using Push. Push was an old file sharing service that was created in 2010 by a person named Dean Herbert, who, by the way, is the person who made Osu. However, Push decided to collaborate with ShareX to replace the old Push uploader. This made all of the old Push links broken, which meant that a bunch of old skins from back then suddenly became lost media. Also worth mentioning that in Osu, Push links weren't just for skins, they were also for beat maps. For example, this beat map, in the description it says, original version of this map that made a lot of people angry. And what's the link for it? A Push link. So none of us will be able to play that original version, at least until somebody finds it. On July 5th, 2021, this video was posted to YouTube. Nothing special, just your average Osu clip. But as this video got more popular, people started to realize, what's that skin? And more importantly, what was the map? Well, for the skin, after going through this person's channel, they were able to find the skin in one of the previous videos. Simple enough, but what about the map? By not leaving the map in the description, this spawned several comments asking what the map was. And since the creator of the clip didn't put the map in the description, he had forgotten what map it was. And to look for it, he had over 100,000 maps to go through. This caused the viewers of the clips to try to find the map by brute force. The first thing that they would try out were to find the attributes of the map. Somebody decided to find them and they got a rough estimate of everything, but even after searching all the beat maps with these filters, they couldn't find anything. There wasn't really much else besides the song. But nobody could even find the song, and for months, nobody could figure out what this map was, until the creator of the clip finally found the original map. This map was unranked, and it was over 6 minutes. That probably didn't help. Osu Addiction was a popular meme video posted by Happy Stick, a former top player and streamer from Osu, who had to quit due to getting a job at Blizzard. Anyway, due to copyright reasons, the Osu Addiction video had to be privated, but luckily, people managed to download a copy of the video, and here's what it was. Happy Stick starts off by explaining how, "Don't forget, you're here forever," is one of the truest quotes that can be said about Osu. He gives an example of how one might find Osu. In this case, while playing CSGO, he notices how his friend is playing super good, and when he asks his friend how he does it, his friend tells him, "I just played a game called Osu. It made my aim really good." Happy Stick then downloads Osu, and it starts off super innocent. He's enjoying the game, and he's wondering how he gets better. He then searches up Osu Reddit and falls down the rabbit hole of the community. After having an epileptic trip, his friend Alex sends him a text. "Hey dude, wanna hang out later today?" And then Happy Stick replies, "No thanks dude, I'm busy." He then proceeds to quote unquote be busy by playing Osu, watching anime, touching his anime figurine, and offering a cookie to his shrine of Cookie Z. And if you didn't know, Cookie Z was a top player who was worshipped back then, and by most still is. Overall, this video was really good, but due to copyright issues, he had to private a lot of videos, including Osu Addiction. Now, I don't know how to exactly say this map, so I'm gonna just play this for y'all.
Perditus Paradisus.
But anyway, on December 17th, 2011, a player named Nico FC'd this map with double time, which was a score very ahead of its time. But unfortunately, the replay of this score is essentially lost forever. This was because back then, nobody would have thought that Nico's scores would have been cleared, so nobody bothered to save the replay. This replay is so elusive that even this screenshot isn't even real, it's photoshopped. So the only thing that we have of this replay is word of mouth. It's pretty well believed though that it was legit, since Nico was a good player back then. But we will never 100% know, since this replay is most likely forever lost. From around 2015 to 2017, these Osu meme edit videos would be made, mainly revolving around anime edits. If you ever want a nostalgia trip to what I call the golden era of Osu, just watch one of these videos. Honestly, times were better. Anyway, now that you know about these anime Osu edits, what is the lost 2017 media? Tip of my tongue Osu video. I remember watching a video about maybe a year ago in a similar style to this video. The OP then explains what he remembered from this video, and that if anyone could find this piece of lost media, it would be much appreciated. There was one user who tried to help him out, but unfortunately that wasn't the video. He said it was in an anime high school setting, and that there was a broom or sweeper of some sort. Me personally, I tried looking for it, and I couldn't find anything either. This video was either a really obscure video with no views, or it was probably deleted. What happened to Spinsmith? What happened, bro? His music is like nowhere online, and the download from this post from a supposed second album of his isn't available. This is sad. What happened to him? By going to this link, we arrive at an Osu post from 13 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, Spinsmith 2. By looking at it, it seemed to be an EP with 6 songs on it. But when you go to the download link, the file isn't found. So who exactly is Spinsmith? Apparently back in 2009, he had 2 ranked maps with his own music. Those maps were September and Sweet Religion. Also, I found a song of his called Dicks Are For My Friends. Here's what it sounds like.
Dicks are for my friends when they come to my house. I said
yeah, anyway, for the time being, Spinsmith 2 will be lost media. On an old YouTube channel called Cookie Nia, there were a bunch of videos showcasing top 20 or top 10 Osu players. These also included top Korean players, back from 2014. Apparently though, on Cookie Nia's channel, there was a deleted video called Osu Korean Friend Group, and in it, it had scores from GusGH0825. Now if you don't know who GusGH0825 is, you're in for a ride. GusGH was part of a group known as the Korean Offline Mafia. Now the Korean Offline Mafia is something that can be its own entire video, but to put it shortly, it's a group of banned Korean players who all play offline and set really good scores. Most of these players are still banned and have faded into obscurity, but one of the members of the quote-unquote group, known as Jot Bab, got unbanned and proved to everybody that they were legit and very good. Others, such as Legendary or Legendre, I don't know, are a lot more controversial and one-sided. A player who fits both of these categories though was GusGH. The main reason behind this, a live play showcasing skill way above his time, and the description saying, legit or not, up to you. Well, the entire live play seems like there's nothing wrong with it. So the question is GusGH legit or not? Well, it's hard to say what he is because GusGH himself stated that he doesn't want to play online and he wants to remain offline. Now, this alone is not enough to call him legit, but here's what makes him seem a little more convincing. In an IRL Korean meetup, including Flying Tuna, GusGH was also spotted there. Also, here's what Flying Tuna said about GusGH.
He isn't cheater. I'm 80% sure that he's legit. I mean, I'm not gonna judge that you think he's like hack or something, but I'm serious. I don't think he's shit.
Honestly, it's a huge mystery, and what makes it more mysterious is that a video of him from an old channel with old history is deleted. So now you may be wondering, how does that have anything to do with Osu? Shortly after he stabbed the robber, he decided to go to r/RobertsGettingFed and posted an AMA, aka an Ask Me Anything. Now there was huge debate whether this guy was in the right or the wrong. Basically, this was a very bad decision by him because he should have just remained quiet and got a lawyer. But apparently his lawyer told him that he could make this post and he'd be fine. A couple days later, the post gets removed due to violating Reddit rules. The stuff that this guy was saying in his AMA was pretty crazy apparently. You looked like you had some stabbing experience. Was that your first time, or did you play through similar situations in your head before? Never been in a situation before or anything similar, but I feel like I learned how to stay calm under pressure because of my experience playing League. Team fights made my heart rate rise, but I was able to keep calm in that. Weird how stuff in games can apply to real life. Thanks. I played a lot of League, CSGO, Valorant, and Osu. Now, somebody that I spoke to actually managed to have possibly found this man's Osu account. My worst choke of all time. Now, watching the gameplay, I don't understand how he recorded it like that. I mean, the screen is not equal, the resolution is off. But anyway, the most important thing here is that we can see his username in the replay. Darkness3436. And by looking this name up, a profile actually comes up. Now, going through his profile, his plays were pretty much from over 8 years ago. However, he was last seen 9 months ago. But you may be asking, okay, that could just be some random guy. How is this guy related to the crazy smoke shop drama? Well, by going to this user's profile, the first thing we can see on his Reddit is r/crazy videos. My store got robbed in Las Vegas and I defended myself. Now, it's pretty coincidental to say that somebody who played Osu managed to impersonate this guy, Johnny Nguyen, into believing that he plays Osu. I mean, the Reddit account has actual posts on it. It's not like it was like a fresh account. The chance that this was impersonation is super low. So it's most likely to be believed that this guy, Darkness3436, is Johnny Nguyen. Also guys, one more thing. While I was recording gameplay to make this part, I noticed that while watching Darkness's gameplay, it's actually cheated. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. By watching the replay, you can clearly see that his cursor snaps way too crisp to the notes. And the sliders, he follows them perfectly. But the icing on the cake is look at the streams. His cursor snaps to each note individually perfectly. And by the way, it's not just one play. This man used cheats for multiple plays in his top scores. And just for good measure, I actually managed to find a play where he played legitimately, just so you can see the difference between a cheated play and a legitimate play. And oh yeah, 8 years by the way. His profile is still there after 8 years. Just thought that was crazy. Now the following topics that will be covered are pretty well known in the CIS region. They have been covered before by CIS YouTubers, but since you guys most likely don't watch that side of YouTube, I'm gonna bring it over here so that more people can know about it. Revexy is a D-ranker from Kazakhstan named Arthur. Arthur's life is not much different from the life of other Kazakhs, but one day, he had to go through those troubles that you would not wish on your worst enemy. The first case with Revexy happened back in the 7th grade. During a literature class, some unknown people started spraying gas in the gym, and it began to be distributed throughout the school building. After some time, Arthur and his classmates became ill, and as soon as information about gas spraying was received, evacuation began. Revexy was far from the main exits and eventually ran to the nearest emergency exit. The longer he searched for a way out, the faster the oxygen ran out in the corridors of the school, and Arthur slowly began to lose consciousness. When he reached the door, he found that it was locked, but fortunately, there was also a window nearby, which had not been touched for 8 years. But it was possible to open it. In the end, Arthur got out of the school building and survived. During this terrible situation, 13 school children were injured, and 7 were taken to the intensive care unit. The second case occurred in the mid-summer of 2021. Revexy was at home, playing Osu. Everything went as usual, but later, Revexy had the unfortunate event of having his relative push him into a corner of a wall, with the impact being his head. Shortly after, Revexy wrote about this event on social media, and then went to sleep. Then, Arthur woke up with a disturbing thought that he was late for the Russian language class. And he also noticed that it was too hot in his room, which was strange because the last thing that Revexy thought was that he was in the winter. Revexy thought that his parents probably just overheated the stove, but there was a catch. It was not winter at all. He looked out the window and the date on the calendar and realized that it was in fact the middle of summer. One of the first things that he thought after waking up was, I gotta study. He opened social media and realized that there were tons of people that he had no idea who they were. After all of that, he went to the hospital, and that's when doctors knew something wasn't right. Revexy had just been diagnosed with amnesia. It was discovered that he lost his memory all the way back until February. Fast forward today though, and Revexy has pretty much remembered everything, except for the last 2 weeks in which he was knocked out. Jumpless was known for his videos on YouTube, where he reviewed funny guides from inept players who gave tips for improving in Osu. In the summer of 2021, according to information from his personal acquaintances, he was imprisoned under Article 228, illegal drug possession. This news touched many of his subscribers and acquaintances because the man was very popular in OC Russian community and no one suspected that he was capable of it. At the moment, he is in prison or on house arrest and we will not be able to see him in the near future. Back in 2019/2020, Nalian was an ex-top 100 OSU player/content creator, and at the time, he was genuinely one of the most funny and entertaining creators that OSU had to offer. Me personally, I remember watching some of Nalian's streams and just being genuinely entertained. This guy always tried his best to entertain his viewers, and he gave off so much good energy. However, when you go to search Nalian's name up, you'll find out that there's pretty much no trace of Nalian left on the internet. All that remains are the archives of his previous live streams. And so, whatever happened to Nalian? Firstly, just based off my pure memory, I remember Nalian having some conflicts with his father regarding OSU streaming. Basically, his father said that if he doesn't make streaming work out, that he would have to get a full-time job and quit streaming entirely. This pushed Nalian to try to become the best streamer that he could. But ultimately, it didn't work out, as he saw his numbers start to decline slowly. Eventually, this led Nalian to step down from streaming OSU, and his new plan was to try to make content on other games, and see if he can grow on that. I remember he had made some YouTube shorts about Genshin Impact, and they didn't do very well. There were other games too, I'm pretty sure, but since his channel was deleted, I really don't remember what it was. To also make things worse, Nalian also struggled with pretty severe mental health issues. Also worth mentioning is that Nalian also had to deal with things like missile strikes while live streaming.
I'll be right back, guys.
On November 20th, 2021, Nalian supposedly gave his final farewell message. Supposedly he already quit 5 times before, but this one seemed pretty dead serious, and what he was about to do was erase every trace of himself from existence on the internet. And so for Nalian, his goals of becoming a well-known live streamer were just way too stressful, and after he quit, he supposedly decided to go take a new passion, which was culinary school. So yeah, that seemed to be the final straw for Nalian. But then, on August 23rd, 2022, a new post to r/OSU game titled "It's Been a While" said this: "Hello, some of you may remember me as an ex-top 100 player turned content creator named Nalian. On the 21st of November 2021, I made the rash decision to quit everything related to content creation and OSU as a whole and study culinary. Not everyone knew why I left or what was the thought process. I am diagnosed with a mental illness called OCD, which made live streaming a horror story for me. I felt like I didn't do the community any good while also not getting anything good from it in return. Nevertheless, life in the year 2022 has been a lot better than my streaming years. I live in a new house, I have a job, and I'm studying new things every day. While I am not active here anymore, for better or worse, you guys were always on my mind. I checked this sub more times than I'd like to admit, which led to me writing this." Anyways, Nalian goes to tell that he didn't end up doing culinary school, but instead doing stock market and real estate courses, and that he used to be scared to wake up the next day, but now he's ready to take on life and look forward to what he's accomplished. He truly made it out of the OSU rabbit hole. Siana6874, Megathread, Bulgarian multi-accounting ring. Here's a list of all the accounts, and let's see if some of these accounts are still up. All of them are still up. Yeah, every single one looks like it's still up. So obviously this was made by a bot. The real reason for it, I don't really know, but multi-accounting rings like this are actually more common than you'd think. There's not just this one for Siana. There's also another case involving Homecoin. I remember there was a hacker who flooded #OSU with a bunch of spam messages, and I'm pretty sure Homecoin were like the spam accounts that they were used. Not really too sure, but these Homecoin accounts are actually all banned now. But the weird part is, you can still search it up and the accounts will still show up as if they were never banned. But of course, going to their profile will show them all as banned, which is a pretty weird bug if you ask me. But as of today, the Bulgarian multi-accounting ring, all of those accounts are still around. Back in the day, there was a player named AdamQS. During his time, he was one of the best players and has some of the most unique skill sets the game had ever seen. His most popular score today is probably Wing My Way, a score which took over 4 years to be sniped and only by the current #1 player. However, on October 10th, 2019, he sent an EU General Data Protection Regulation request, and requested for his account to be forever deleted. This meant that he could no longer log in back to his account and all of his scores would be wiped. That was until kinda recently Osu added a feature where we were able to see Adam QS's plays in the form of deleted user underscore 613592. Basically, if you want to delete your Osu account forever, under GDPR, you're actually allowed to, as long as you email staff and give a good reason. Now, Adam QS isn't the only person who's done this. Another player who you may have forgotten about is Maxim Bogdan. Now, similar to Adam QS, back in the day, Maxim Bogdan was a highly skilled player who reached top 30. The kind of crazy part is though, is that Maxim Bogdan still plays Osu just on a private server. And if you don't know what a private server is, a private Osu server is an unofficial server that allows players to play the game Osu with custom features and modifications that differ from the official Osu servers. For example, Maxim Bogdan still plays on a server called Akatsuki, which has leaderboards that allow you to gain PP off Relax. Nowadays, Maxim Bogdan is known as deleted user 5035700. Now, I feel like there would be way more deleted users, but that's the ones that we know that were top players. On screen right now is pretty much all of the other deleted players that we know of. Some of these include a ranked mapper, a bunch of German users, and a couple other ones as well. MyGH69 was a multi-use for multiple banned players. On December 16th, 2016, the former Korean top 1 player, Firebat92, tweeted this out. Someone asked me, that MyGH69 is your account? Yes, but no. I played that account in 2015, and MyGH69 is shared for banned Osu players. By looking up MyGH69, we managed to find much more information about him. Cookie Z versus MyGH69, Blue Zenith. Now for context, Cookie Z's play on Blue Zenith back then was arguably the most insane play for its time. There was pretty much nobody that could match this type of score. Except, on the same exact day, MyGH69 will also get a score on Blue Zenith Hard Rock. Now of course, Cookie Z's score was much better, but keep in mind that at this time, MyGH69 was pretty much an unknown player. Now let's go all the way back to January 7, 2016. Cookie Z had yet gotten another score that was unmatched for his time, Ridori. And yet on the same day again, we can find MyGH69 submitting another score. Hacker or some player I don't know about. Basically there's this guy, MyGH69, and after not playing for a few months, comes back and does some insane plays and has under 14k play count. He's a very old player who plays offline. I personally doubt he's legit, but I haven't seen anything that's so obviously cheated as to justify forming a solid opinion. As time went on though, MyGH69 was looking less innocent. Does anyone know why MyGH69 is not banned? Doesn't make sense. I mean, everyone knows he isn't legit. Why does he get a free pass now that he quote unquote doesn't have time to play? He's been sitting in the top 50 for 4 months, lol. How is he not gone? And so pretty much as time went on, people were suspecting that MyGH was a multi-account, a downright blatant cheater, or that it was an incredibly good offline player. But as we know today, MyGH69 was a multi-account that included Angel Sim, aka Firebat92. And one of the things that led people to be more suspicious of this account was the last time Angel Sim logged in is the day that MyGH69 came back and started climbing. The plot thickens. Gus GH once told me that MyGH69 is the account that Angel Sim used whenever you want to use his tablet. It's his tablet multi if you want. And if you don't know, Gus GH, aka GusGH0825, was a banned player who refused to get unbanned, but can supposedly make over 1k PP plays. Now here's his infamous live play, and as I've said before, Flying Tuna also confirmed that Gus GH was most likely not cheating.
He isn't cheater. I'm 80% sure that he's legit.
Anyways, MyGH would continue to climb, and more claims that he was Angel Sim would also arise. But then, out of nowhere, this happens. Angel Sim and MyGH69 are both online and playing. The plot thickens. But finally, on December 16th, 2016, MyGH69 was banned. Is LV Britannia, also known as EVB, a legit player or a cheater? Why? I honestly think he's legit. Otherwise, his first multi-account, Kane Highwind, would have been banned/restricted and not just locked with all of his top scores intact. You ask this question as though somebody in here will give you an answer based on facts rather than whether or not they like EVB. I don't think you will get an actual answer for this. People who think he is too good to be true will say he is a hacking time warper or whatever. People who think he's just amazing will say he's just amazing. Unfortunately, useless to ask this question here. So who is LV Britannia? From what it seems like, back in 2016, EVB was a player who came out of nowhere and started setting the best scores possible in Osu. He made a couple of live plays and nothing seemed really that wrong with them, but he also ended up multi-accounting a ton of times. It was rumored to be about 15 multi-accounts that he had. With this following information, there was a lot of people who believed that he just wasn't legit and that he was way too suspicious to be considered a top contender. I don't know if it's just me, but his tapping looks really weird. It just seems so effortless compared to people like HVIC and Rafis. Now at first glance, the live plays don't seem that suspicious, but the real major evidence for me is not the actual live play themselves, but rather what happens at the ending of each live play. What I mean is that at the very ending of each live play, he cuts his camera out. Now to understand why this is important, let me explain what Time Warp is. Time Warp is an Osu cheat that allows you to slow down the game and then re-speed it back up to submit the score at a higher speed. So for example, playing a map in no mod, and then by using Time Warp, you speed it up and submit it as double time. Now on the other hand, making a live play using Time Warp is a very bad idea. Basically, by speeding up your gameplay, you also have to speed up your footage, aka your hand cam. By speeding your hand cam up, it gets really obvious to understand whether you time warped or not. Now the thing is, with EVB's live plays, they don't look time warped. I mean, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but it doesn't look very cheated to me. But honestly, why cut out the camera at the ending? Why not just leave it? What makes it even worse is that in this live play, he doesn't even cut the camera out. He just goes straight to the ending screen. Doesn't even show what happens at the end of the map. For the most part, a lot of people definitely know that EVB was probably cheating, but for some reason he has a cult-like following that swears upon it that he was one of the best players ever. LV Britannia is someone you can qualify under the Korean Offline Mafia, which is basically a group of offline players and cheaters, all coming from Korea. For example, Biko, MyJH69, Dotbab, GusGH, and there's other people, but some people in the Korean Offline Mafia become legitimate players that are respected, for example, Dotbab. LV Britannia, on the other hand, definitely has not made it to that category and has now fallen to obscurity. So most of you guys are probably asleep right now. If you guys happen to remember your dreams when you watch this video, then you should let me know. Like, maybe I appeared in your dream somehow. That sounds kind of trippy. But if you're not asleep, then hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to check out all my socials in the description, especially my Discord server, because right now I just started it and I'm trying to grow a little community, I guess. I will see y'all in the next one. Or if you're asleep, I will see y'all when you wake up. Later.